Hello everybody, it's Julia here from the Highly Sensitive Tarot, and I'm back today with another in my instalment of Learn Tarot series. And today we're going to look at the nines. I've got the notes prepped for the tens, and once I've done that video I will have completed all 78 of the tarot cards in a deck, which is a major achievement for me actually. I'm good at starting things, but not always good at finishing things. So for me to finish my look at all the cards individually is quite an achievement, actually. So anyway, let's have a look at the nine. So I've got 4 cards here again for you. I've got the Rider-Waite-Smith, Pensive Path, the Raven's Prophecy, and Grimwalkin's Curious Cats. And I thought, looking back at the video yesterday that I did yesterday of the 8s, the 7s and the 8s, I thought they looked quite nice together, the colour scheme of the cards. So I'm using them again. Anyway, so nines. When we think about nines in numerology, we think about keywords such as fulfillment, conclusions, understanding, fruition, attainment. They would be the kind of keywords that would come to mind with nines. I think nines contain the sort of archetypal principle of strength and determination, which is something that you would need to complete a goal. Nines are powerful cards, and I think that they often grant the querent what they are seeking. So yeah, this video will follow a similar format to my previous videos. I'll put some timestamps in. We'll look at the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles in that order. So with the wands, the astrology of the wands is the moon in Sagittarius. So that would tell us that things may be not quite as they seem. There could be some sort of confusion around appearances with the moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is obviously a fire sign and is in a very expansive and creative fire sign, whereas the moon might imply something more feminine, something more emotional, something perhaps deceptive. So we'll see how that plays itself out within the card of the Nine of Wands. So in its higher realms, these cards might talk to us of sorry, my brain will take time to get going in these videos for me to talk fluently and articulately. It's coming. My brain is warming up. So in its higher realms, I think the Nine of Wands gives you the strength of vision to see that what you want is there. You just need to see it, if you know what I mean. You're near the end. You're near completion of everything that you've worked for. It's just there. It's kind of like you just need to go for it. And that's what's going on here in this Rider-Waite-Smith card. It's taken him all his time and his effort to get all of these wands standing up straight. And you can see that he's battered and beaten and worn down and fed up and pissed off even, you can see in his face. But he's so nearly there. So there's an ability here to handle difficult situations. I think with nines there's often the willpower to gain new energy and to be victorious, to find solutions to difficult situations and to regain that energy after a period of exhaustion. And perhaps that's what's going on here in the Pensive Path. This is such a difficult card to look at, I find, actually. The poor soldier in this picture just looks, well, I mean, we don't know what's going on here. He could be the last soldier standing. Everyone else could be dead. He could be shell-shocked. He could be near the end of the battle. But he's still standing, isn't he? He's still got his gun there. He's still got some grenades. He's still standing, even though he looks like he's a standing sort of zombie, who's just completely and utterly exhausted and, as I said, probably shell-shocked. But he's still standing. Perhaps the end for him is near. Whatever that end is, I'm not sure. I mean, he could be killed, he could survive, but I would imagine the end is near. I'm not quite sure what's going on in the Raven's prophecy here. So I'm going to have a look at the guidebook from Maggie. I love her guidebook. It really has helped me to make sense of this deck. I mean, the Raven's prophecy is really meant to be read intuitively, I think, in many ways. But I just find it really helps to have a look at the guidebook and see what the creator actually meant by the images that they're showing you. So we've got here keywords: stamina, strength, capability. The 9 of Wands and the 10 of Wands have always struck me as a bit of an odd way to end the suit of creativity. The 9 in particular. The 9s of all suits hover right on the edge of completion, increasingly following the theme of their given suit to its logical conclusion. But where the 9 of Coins and the 9 of Cups are exceptionally positive cards, and the 9 of Swords at least logically follows from the hardship of the rest of the sword suit, the 9 of Wands seems unfairly difficult for an otherwise productive suit. I think that's my feeling also, actually, especially when we look at cards like this. But also this man here, it seems an unfair situation, doesn't it? So it would be pretty taxing to live in the 9 of Wands for a month, much less a lifetime. It represents an effort that is nearly done, close enough to touch, except for one final push. That's what this is, isn't it? It's the one final push. And it's no minor obstacle that stands between you and completion. The final step is something that's going to test your inner strength to its utmost, something that depends on all the experience and skill you've built up to this point. So the blackened fingers on the art show the experience won't be easy, but the confidence with which those blackened hands contain the fire speaks to how at the very least you do have the skill to handle it. You can do it, it'll burn, but you can push through to success. So I really like that. Yet again, I think that Maggie is just very straightforward, straight to the point. I really, really like her explanations, actually, of these cards. And we can see very clearly here what she's talking about. Although the fingers are blackened, they are still handling and manipulating that fire, which is your energy, very well. What have we got in the 9 of Wands here with the Grim Walkins? We've got a cat, I think, who's been lining up all these wands to cross the water to the other side. And I would imagine this cat has fallen in several times. But he's still trying, he's still standing, and he's still trying. So in its lower realms, this card might talk of obstacles and adversity, problems, delays, ill health, a current struggle, an expectation of struggles and difficulties. And I think if we were going to ask questions of ourselves relating to this energy, we could ask, who or what is demanding a lot from you? What previous knowledge or abilities are you drawing on? And lastly, where are you finding your strength? Where does your strength come from? Is it from an inner core belief that you have about yourself or life? Is it your belief and your determination to succeed? What is it? Where are you finding your strength? So there we go. Okay, so the Nine of Cups. So the astrology associated with this card is Jupiter in Pisces, which is a much more positive energy, I feel, than the moon in Sagittarius, which is what we had for the Nine of Wands. Jupiter's often associated with the Wheel of Fortune, with good fortune, with changes, with luck. And Pisces is a emotional, watery card. So this is good fortune, good emotions, I would guess. So in its higher realms, this could perhaps be called even the best card of the minors. It could be called the wish card. There's just an absolute abundance of love, happiness and joy within this card. And this card would really encourage you to be grateful for the things that you have. We can see that here with this man in the Rider-Waite-Smith card here. He sat just looking very satisfied with his cups. You could almost say smug, but he's looking very satisfied with his cups. And I've seen another card which looks at the back of this picture. I think, what is it, the Tower of the New Vision perhaps? But in that card it shows that behind this curtain here there are children playing. So this is his emotional fulfillment, isn't it? This is his family. In the Pensive Path we've got a woman with her balloons. I don't know whether she's selling her balloons or she's taking the balloons home for a party, but I think those balloons possibly represent that emotional fulfillment also. In the Nine of Cups with the Raven's Prophecy, we see birds and clouds and the sun and all these beautiful colours coming through the clouds. I'm going to look that up actually. And then in the cats at the end there, we have the cat with all the things in life that he loves. We've got a fish, we've got birds, we've got, what else have we got there? We've got the lotus flower again, which I think represents happiness and joy and peaceful times. So we can see in this big fluffy cat here in the Nine of Cups just how happy he is. So I think this card really does represent enjoying life. This is internal and external fulfillment actually. This is emotional satisfaction and the use of your creative imagination. Let's have a quick read from Maggie's book for the Raven's Prophecy there and see what she said. So her keywords are bliss, fulfillment and pleasure. And she said, I could leave happiness as the single word descriptor for this card. And anything you could imagine would be all right. The Nine of Cups is joyful and wonderful, representing all your emotional dreams coming to fulfillment. Whatever you've been working towards in life, your relationships, be they friendly, family or romantic, it's all here. You feel deep contentment and like things are about to get better. That's the old Jupiter energy there, isn't it? You're probably right. The 9 and 10 both represent happiness, but I generally read the 9 as being happiness that is inside you, that kind of optimism with which everything is going well. You personally feel euphoric with the possibilities and actualities of your situation. So the art shows 9 birds soaring in the clouds, and the birds symbolise the strong relationships promised in the card. And the clouds are, well, I just think it would be really great to fly. I can go along with that. Wouldn't it be great to fly? So if we were going to look at these cards in their more lower realms, if we were going to take a less positive view of them, we could come up with words such as mistakes, emotional loss, misplaced trust, resentments, despair and depression, I guess. They are the things that would be the opposite of what we're seeing here. So if we were going to ask questions related to this energy, we could ask, what do you want to manifest in life? Can you visualize it in every single detail? What pleasures are you experiencing in your life? And how have your wishes been fulfilled? Okay, so the Nine of Swords. So the astrology associated with this card is Mars in Gemini. Mars is obviously the planet of war and conflict, and Gemini is a mercurial, swift, articulate, analytical kind of energy. So that would imply, wouldn't it, or at least it would to me, that there's perhaps trouble or conflict within your thinking and your thought processes currently. So in its higher realms, I think that this card might talk of the need for sort of intense shadow work, really. You know, this is always a difficult card. There needs to be an acceptance of the shadow side of yourself. There needs to be some objective self-criticism and accepting some fears. This is an intense energy. I think it's important to focus on your priorities and to use that sort of those fears and that anxiety to be your motivation for change with this card. There's a massive need to communicate with this card. You know, traditionally, this card is associated with nightmares and bad dreams, the kind of things that keep you up at night, that disrupt your sleep, that give you nightmares, that really affect your quality of life. And we can see that here. I'm not entirely sure what is going on in this card here from the Pensive Path. It does look like this man is laying on a mattress, but why he's contorting in such a fashion, I don't know. He could be in the grips of a fit, of a rage. He could be having a nightmare. In fact, that's probably what's most likely, is that he's having a nightmare, but who knows what's going on here. But I think this card really does kind of show us very clearly that torment associated with this card. Let's have a read from the book for the Raven's Prophecy again. So where are we? The Nine of Swords. So her keywords for this card are depression, introversion, and fear. So this card is perhaps the most fearful in the deck, which is impressive because when it appears, there may in fact be absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Of course, there might be everything to be afraid of too, but this card isn't particularly concerned with that. The Nine of Swords looks at the weather conditions inside you, not outside your window, and the report is 100% rain with a chance of hail or the end of the world. So this is the depression card. Whether it's earned or not, you cannot stop yourself of thinking of the worst. Sometimes it's something that's already happened or something you can't forget. Maybe the heartbreak of the Three of Swords. Or it may be that it's something that you fear will happen. This anxiety. Maybe the absolute ending of the Ten of Swords. But either way, you live in a toxic black mire of fear or guilt. And I know that feeling very well, actually, that fear of the absolute ending of the Ten of Swords, of a situation coming to an end, is really enough to keep you stuck in this miserable torment of an energy of the Nine of Swords for far too long. And it is a toxic black mire. So it's not wrong to feel this way, but it is impossible to live this way. And that's very true. Nothing gets done when you're in the Nine of Swords. Everything turns inward, and eventually your introspection paralyzes you entirely. The Nine of Swords isn't condoning this paralysis, unlike the Four of Swords, which kind of encourages this inaction. So with the Nine of Swords, this isn't useful introspection. You're not meditating or learning anything about yourself. And she says, get up, dust yourself off, and start making active solutions. And again, this is why I love Maggie's guidebook, because she's saying these things are understandable, it's part of human nature. We all suffer these things at times, and it's completely understandable to feel this way, but it's not possible to live this way, or at least for any length of time. And at some point, it's really important to find the motivation from somewhere to carry on. And I think in the Cats Tarot at the end here, the Grim Walkins Curious Cats, we can see, I think the black cat at the top is like a shadow cat, if you like, and I think the birds that are trapped inside the rib cage of this cat are possibly what's triggering this cat's guilt. I know that cats don't suffer guilt. My cat certainly doesn't. But I think that's what's being implied in this picture here, is that this cat might be feeling guilty for the birds that is killed, or for the birds that it wants to kill. I don't know. But I think that that's what's going on there anyway. So in its lower realms, this card might talk of anxiety, nightmares, the fear of the future, fear of loss, fear of failure, of harsh judgments, of yourself and others, this despair, this doubt. There can even be a suspicion or paranoia with this card. And I think eventually, if you're not able to move out of this energy, this leads to isolation, loneliness, and depression. So if we were going to ask questions of ourselves to reflect or meditate upon this energy, we might ask, what thoughts or nightmares are plaguing you? What is the source of your stress or depression? How are you putting yourself down? And what can you do to improve the situation, most importantly? This is really a card, I think, of experiencing the pain in all of its colours and learning from it and moving on. Okay, so lastly, we have the Nine of Pentacles, or the Nine of Coins. And the astrology for this card is Venus in Virgo. And I've always loved this card. This is particularly one that I look for in decks when I'm choosing decks. I'm a Virgo myself, Sun and Moon. And I really enjoy the energy of this card, I have to say. Venus is obviously the planet of relationships, of love, of connections, and Virgo is an earth sign that's concerned with home and a good quality of life, I think, really. So if we were to look at this card in its higher realms, we would be looking at things such as material well-being, finding pleasure in physical comfort and material success, feeling happy and safe and secure, reaping the benefits of hard work, finding pleasure in being alone with yourself, finding pleasure in your family, in your love of nature and gardening, completing the work of self-development, organising your life to gain wisdom and inner satisfaction. I think these are things that are all associated with Virgo, and maybe Venus in Virgo. We can see that here with the Rider-Waite-Smith card of the lady in her garden. She's got all her pentacles. We've got grapes hanging around her, which really speak of abundance. And we have a similar thing going on with a pensive path. This is a beautiful card from the pensive path. We've got the peacocks, we've got the grapes, we've got the maiden in her lovely flowing dress. This is Venus in Virgo, isn't it? And we've got the same going on here with the cat at the end, haven't we? This beautiful Siamese cat surrounded by birds and butterflies and pentacles, and just feeling at one, feeling comfortable, feeling safe, feeling secure, and finding pleasure in your environment. Let's have a quick look at Maggie's book to see what she said about her Raven's Prophecy card there with the rose. So she says the key words for this are abundance, satisfaction, accomplishment, and success. So this is a lovely card to turn over when you've been working at something for a long time. The full bloom on the 9 of coins, the first fully opened rose pictured in the suit. So there we go. See, I'm learning this deck here, so I'm interested to read these things for myself. So you've reached a place where you're not only stable, but you also have more than enough. Worries about material goods no longer niggle in the back of your mind when you sleep at night. You can now make career choices based upon what is artistically exciting or spiritually enriching for you, rather than what will just put bread on the table. So the freedom is perhaps what makes this card better than the 10. Although the wealth pictured in the 10 is greater, the 9 of coins is enough. It is plenty. It is not too much. It is just enough to allow you to be whoever you would like to be. And I really appreciate that actually about the 9 of Pentacles. It also says this card urges you to look around yourself and enjoy what you have. Do you need more? Have you been taking the time to bask in the other opportunities such success allows you? Don't squander it, but take the time to live because you've earned it. Excuse me. And that is very much the feeling that I get about this for Venus in Virgo, 9 of Pentacles here. This is just purely and simply about enjoying the fruits of your labour, really enjoying what you've achieved and what you've earned and what you've worked hard for in life. If we were looking at the lower realms of this card, we could be talking about a possible loss, excuse me, a loss of material possessions, gambling, maybe poor judgment in money matters, not working hard enough, expecting things to come your way when you've not put the effort in. So questions we could ask ourselves about this card are, what are you earning by your endeavours? Is it material wealth, security, or peace of mind? How are you enjoying what you have earned? So how are you actively enjoying that in your life? And how do you give thanks for all that you have gained in your life, most importantly? Because when life is feeling settled and secure and pleasurable and comfortable, I think it's important to be grateful and to give what you can of your time and your energy to others. So there we go. That was that was the number 9. So that's all of the 9s, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed that, and please do leave me some feedback, leave me a comment, and I shall be back soon with the 10s. So thank you for watching. Thank you.